I exercise that discretion, I'll allow Honorable Mbandi, who is a ranking member of this House, to exhaust his time.
Mr.
You have a
Speaker,
point of order, Honorable Otienda Molo? Order, Musa
Mr. Speaker,
Sirma.
the Honorable Chepkonga is a ranking member and is my friend, and in recent times we've been co-chairing a very important subcommittee on CDF. But Mr. Speaker, when he stands on Standing Order 95 to persuade you to exercise your discretion, knowing that on the day the debate on this matter started, I and him were busy representing this House in another important matter, and I, among others, have not had the opportunity to say a bit. He is not only misleading, he is being unfair to the rest of us. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge you not to accept that invite. This is a very important matter, Mr. Speaker, as you know, that has invited interpretation by the court. As a House, we got it wrong the first time. It is important to get it right the second time without rushing. I submit, Mr. Speaker, and I was the first in this House this afternoon waiting to speak to this matter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mbadi.
yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think I had 3 minutes left to make my contribution. And Mr. Speaker, there's something that worries me with this bill. Looking at clause number 4, and a few members have spoken to it, in an effort for the government or the executive to beat, or rather to correct, what was said in court, they are creating a bigger problem to the people of Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, if you look at clause 4, where the levy is being levied or imposed, then it says that is imposed a levy known as the Affordable Housing Levy, and that the levy shall be at the rate of 1.5% of the gross salary of an employee, or the gross income of a person received or accrued, which is not subject to the levy under paragraph A. Mr. Speaker, we are exposing Kenyans now, including even Mama Mboga in the streets, who are promised that this levy will only affect those who are salaried and who have a pay slip, to unnecessary harassment by Kenya Revenue Authority. Mr. Speaker, to impose this levy on people who don't have salary is going to be a nightmare. And what we are doing, in short, is to allow the Kenya Revenue Authority officers to now be snooping and harassing Kenyans, including even farmers, Mr. Speaker. Because what this particular provision means, in short, is that if you go to your farm, get your maize, and you sell it, you are supposed to be taxed, or a levy is supposed to be imposed on the produce that you get from your shamba. Gross of it, not even removing the cost of producing maize. This is punitive, and this is one of the worst legislations that can ever be passed in a house like this. Mr. Speaker, unless there is going to be an amendment to remove this or to make it implementable, Mr. Speaker, this particular provision should not be allowed to stand. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to go any further. I can see the leader of majority is gesturing, I don't know for what. But Mr. Speaker, I've just mentioned that.
Order, honorable members, order. Order, double N. Order. Is that Ngeleche or double N? The exuberance and loud conversations are disrupting even the speaker to hear what the member on the floor is saying.
Mr. Speaker, what I was saying was very important, so I may need to repeat it. Mr. Speaker, the provision under clause 4 is very, very, very dangerous. And I would urge that this matter is looked into, because now, Mr. Speaker, those farmers in the village who, after producing their crops, sell their produce, will be required to surrender 1.5% of the gross produce to this housing levy. Mr. Speaker, this is punitive. This is going to lead to unnecessary harassment of ordinary Kenyans by Kenya Revenue Authority. And I can see Leader of Majority is laughing. He actually said when he was moving this motion that they are very happy because government is going to receive more money. But why should you be happy when the same hustlers are suffering, Mr. Speaker, just because you are getting more money to do things that are not so clear, like housing, providing houses to people who we don't even know. Mr. Speaker, this is something that needs to really be looked into and removed from this law, even though the judiciary mentioned about discrimination. There should be a better way, a more
Honorable members, I have been moved to call the mover to reply, but I'll give Honorable Otienda Amolo and one other member this side, then I call the mover to reply. Otienda Amolo? Okay.